The young man thought he could ride around without a license plate and helmet, until the police saw him, and he tried to flee but was apprehended shortly afterward. He said he was going to stop, but in reality he was heading towards his house to try to escape. The police knew about his plan and grabbed him by the shirt. These two men on a motorcycle without a license plate saw the police and tried to flee. They're going to make a left turn and the worst happens. Unfortunately, the passenger managed to escape, but the driver was arrested. A young man who enjoyed doing wheelies and dangerous stunts on his motorcycle in public was identified by the police, and then tried to flee on a motorcycle without a license plate and without a helmet. The pursuit lasted almost an hour until the fugitive's motorcycle broke down, hindering the police's work. A couple without helmets and a motorcycle without license plates decided to flee from the police, until something terrible happened. The driver will jump off the motorcycle and run into an alley. He simply ran away and left his girlfriend lying on the ground. Police spotted a couple on a motorcycle. Neither was wearing a helmet and the motorcycle had no license plate. They tried to flee but lost control on a curve and crashed head-on into the back of a car. The police had to call an ambulance to attend to the two. Young man sees the police and simply speeds away to escape. The two police officers followed him until he had no way out and was arrested. The police were stopped when suddenly a motorcycle passed by without a license plate and the passenger without a helmet. Unfortunately, they managed to escape, but later the police found his motorcycle parked and issued fines totaling $12,000. The police were patrolling a neighborhood at night when they saw two young men on a motorcycle without helmets. They tried to flee into a garage, but the policewoman managed to catch them and issue the appropriate fines. The driver was underage to ride a motorcycle. The fines were issued to the motorcycle owner, and thankfully there were no accidents. Police see a young man with a heavily modified motorcycle, without a license plate, and the rider not wearing a helmet. He accelerates to escape from the police. Unfortunately, we were unable to obtain all the footage, but in the police report, it was stated that the man abandoned the motorcycle, entered alleyways, and managed to escape. No residents in the area were willing to assist the police. A man borrows a motorcycle from a friend, sees the police, and decides to flee. See how he puts other people's lives at risk. He ended up going down a dead-end street, and the police were then able to capture and arrest him. Two young men without helmets, drinking alcohol, attempt to flee from the police at high speed. After a long chase, they lost control on a curve and ended up crashing into the garbage. The police managed to arrest both of them. The police called their team to bring a car to transport the two prisoners. Police managed to apprehend this fugitive on a motorcycle without a license plate and without a helmet. But when everything seemed to be resolved, something happened. When your cousin shows up and yells from afar, "Don't worry, I'm here to sort this out."
Eu sou pau no cu? Eu sou pau no cu? Já era. Sai fora! Sai fora! Que pau no...
He insulted the police and meddled where he wasn't wanted.
Não corre, seu vacilão. Ô, coloca a algema nele aqui. Coloca a algema nele aqui. Coloca a algema nele aqui. Põe a mão pra trás. É isso mesmo, filho. Você não quer se envolver...
The police handcuffed him and took him into custody along with his cousin. She could have gone free, but she meddled where she shouldn't have. This motorcyclist ran into the police and ran to ask his mother for help. After a few minutes of pursuit, the young man found his family. The boy abandoned the motorcycle and hid behind his mother, thinking she could help. The young man was detained, the motorcycle was seized, and he received traffic tickets. The police were closing off the street when suddenly a young man without a helmet and riding a noisy motorcycle provoked the officers. Unfortunately, he managed to escape. The police were searching for two robbers on a motorcycle. They remained hidden while the others tried to gather all the necessary information about the criminals, until they spotted the two passing by on the street and were able to arrest them both. The police were victorious in this mission, and they posted a photo on social media. They sped off on the motorcycle, provoking the police, and fled. The friend who stayed behind decided not to run and ended up hearing about it from the others. In your opinion, should he have run away too, or should he have stopped? At the end of the interaction, the motorcyclist told people to stop running from the police and to respect the officers. This food delivery man was fleeing from the police at high speed. He knew the place well. Notice how he ignores all traffic laws, putting other lives in danger. Finally, the police managed to catch the fugitive and cornered him, causing him to crash into a tree. We cannot show this footage as it is sensitive content. This couple flees from the police at high speed. Neither of them is wearing a helmet. Until they entered a very dangerous place and the policeman, being alone, decided to turn back. But the next day, the police were patrolling when they saw a parked motorcycle and, by the license plate, were able to identify the fugitive from the previous night. The serial numbers were all confirmed and the motorcycle was seized. A man was robbed by two bandits, but as they were about to flee, the police arrived at the perfect moment and prevented the robbery. Notice that the police arrived at the exact moment. The two bandits abandoned their motorcycles and ran, but the police managed to arrest both of them. The victim was undoubtedly having a lucky day. Because of the fright, he didn't even know what to do. But this other one wasn't so lucky. He sped past two police officers who were stopped, and the officers immediately followed him. The motorcyclist said he was in a hurry and hadn't seen the police officers. The motorcycle had no rearview mirror, an illegible license plate, and an altered color. The appropriate fines were issued to the rider.